What was your cringiest sexual experience? Remember to like and subscribe. Enjoy the video. The first time I initiated sexy time and tried to seductively pull down my boyfriend's, now husband, underwear, the elastic waistband slipped out of my fingers and slingshot him in the balls. Sexy time did not happen that night, which was the opposite effect I was going for. Went home with a Tinder date, kissed and got naked, and threw up in her bed before we could have sex. Girlfriend at the time asked me to talk dirty to her while we were doing the deed. I panicked and said in the sternest voice I could muster, I'm going to have sex with you. My first time I finished into strokes. Whoop, look at this big manly man. Lasted twice as long as I did. I once had a guy fake it on my back and then fake wipe the fake jizz off of me, and he thought I wouldn't notice. Met a Tinder date at her place. Surprise, she has 2 young children of which I was unaware. Extremely weird for me, but it's just a dinner thing, not a hookup. I thought, this woman is being aggressively sexual while shooing her kids away every 5 minutes. Atmosphere makes it clear she wants me to stay the night. So she goes to put her kids to sleep. So far it's been uncomfortable, but not a deal breaker. Then one of her kids calls me daddy. I'm in my early 20s. I freaked the f out, made an excuse, and left. When I get turned on, I have the tendency to sneeze. Anyway, if she wasn't moist from the foreplay she was after I sneezed on her and spittle sprayed her. I came on my high school girlfriend's belly twice in one evening while she was attempting to help me lose my virginity. First time I signed up on OkCupid, I immediately got messaged by this chick who said, hi, my name is Sarah and I smell horrible. I didn't believe her, but she really smelled bad. She gave me a blowjob in my dad's basement and I never saw her again. What the f? He fingered my belly button. I can only assume he thought it was my but how? If you wanna find the G-spot, you gotta look everywhere. First time I had sex with a guy that I'd been going on dates with for a couple weeks asked, did you think I'd have a big right after we finished? Did he? Super average. The first time I GF and I had 6 in the middle of both of us climaxing. Our stomachs suctioned together and made a loud farting noise. I was at a party with my then ex-GF in high school. Both of us are pretty drunk and she wants to have sex. So we go to the upstairs bathroom, lock the door, and turn off the lights. I lie on the floor, no condom, and she proceeds to ride me. I have narcolepsy, so I tend to fall asleep at inappropriate times. This being one of those times. I fell asleep for who knows how long. I wake up to the sudden urge to come. I yell, get off, push her off me. She hits her head on the counter, and I come all over myself. Sad moment. Strong pull out game though. The strongest. This dude can pull out of a coma to pull out of you. As we were about to start, literally 1 inch away, she sings fishy fishy in the tone from the McDonald's commercial song for the McFish sandwich. It was an ad that kept coming on Pandora that day. It was funny for her, but definitely threw me off. Dated this girl sophomore year of college. I was getting ready to go down on her when I noticed my biology lab safety goggles were right next to me. I couldn't resist, so I put them on and said safety first. She swooned. Cringy. Maybe. Worth. For sure. I once had sex with this guy and it was taking forever. Usually not a problem, except it was super boring. After like 45 minutes of straight missionary, I was like, are you at least close? He replied, I'm not some high school chump. We both left unsatisfied. 45 minutes of just missionary? How f***ing raw were you? The first time I fingered a girl, it was in a dark movie theater. It was of course lower than expected, and I just kept reaching lower and lower. When I finally felt the I said, that's your in an excited 14-year-old voice. Loudly. During the movie, she just whispered yep quietly. I was getting a BJ while laying on my back. When I said I was about to come, she let go of my dung, causing me to shoot nut on my own face. I accidentally did this to a guy once. He didn't know it was on his face, and after he had licked his lips quietly whispered, I just tasted my own cum. I laughed so damn hard. I was a teen who got caught masturbating by my mother. She told my dad, and later, when he got home, they gave me this big speech about masturbation. They're super religious and talked about how I'm wasting my seed and God didn't create the sexual limb for recreation. It's only for procreation. That it was so humiliating I suppressed it in my memory until now. My very religious parents caught me looking at porn. I wasn't even touching myself and took away my computer privileges for almost 2 years. I'm 23 and to this day, when I visit them, I'm only allowed to have my computer in the living room, where I can't hide anything. Assert dominance by watching porn in the living room. I fell asleep masturbating. My brother walked in, laughed at the sight of me holding my with porn still playing. My parents came to see what he was laughing at. They laughed too. My brother woke me up by throwing a shoe at me, and I was so embarrassed that I immediately got dressed and left the house for a few hours. My dad told my grandparents and promised to tell everyone at my wedding. I was dating a guy and he would always jizz in his pants while making out. That's not that big a deal on its own, but one time he brought a Ziploc baggie to catch the cum, so it didn't get all over his pants. He also seemed to think that the goal of French kissing was to lick the other person's tonsils and mash faces as much as possible. Looking back, that whole relationship makes me cringe, partially because we were awful about PDA. Once we made out while sitting on our friends' laps and they were trapped under us. It was not a kind thing to do. I was making out with a girl. Neither of us had clothes on. In the middle of it, I remembered her mentioning to someone else earlier in passing that she doesn't sleep with anyone unless she's in a relationship with him. So I stopped. I'm a fucking idiot. Maybe banging a girl on top of raw insulation? I sure was cringing afterwards. The first time I had sex she took a condom out and went to put it on me, but she played with me for a little bit first. I had never had a condom on before, so wasn't sure if she had slid it on or not yet, and we just laid there awkwardly for a minute and I lost my boner and she thought I didn't like her. You didn't think to look or feel your to see if it felt like rubber? No, touching your own would be gay. My friend told me the key factor to make a woman feel good is being funny. So I came home with a girl in the middle of the night. On the way to my bedroom I told her, "You're going to walk funny tomorrow." She's giggling and asks me the obvious, "Why are you so big?" After which I locked the door and said the sarcastic, "No, I'm going to cut off your legs." She started crying, kind of ruined the moment that went from sexy to serial killer in no time flat. Agreed to have sex in the shower with a random hookup. She comes over, doesn't want to have a shower. I proceed to shower with her in the bathroom the whole time. I'm confused as to why, after she refused the shower, you still proceeded with the solo shower. Back in college this girl came over to my dorm to Netflix and chill. It was going well, and we had plenty of snacks to eat. After a while things start to get a little frisky, and I slide down to eat her out. She's having a good time, I'm having a good time, everything's going great. But then out of my stupid f***ing mouth comes the words, "You taste like potato chips." We are both just stunned for a second at how I could say something so stupid. She buries her face in her hands and goes, "Oh my god, that is such a turn off." She's about to get off me, so the only thing I can think to do is to shove my tongue back in her. Surprisingly it worked, but for the rest of the night I knew that's all either of us were really thinking about. This is how I learned to keep my mouth shut during sex. Context: I drink a lot of coffee, so sometimes I get a serious case of palpitation and get gag reflexes, especially when I'm full. So yeah, me and my GF just finished eating, and I ate a lot. So while doing the deed, I started feeling a little nauseous. I finished and managed to get to the side of the bed before vomiting. She felt really bad because she thought it was because I thought the sex was disgusting. She even asked if she smelled bad down there. I tried to tell her it wasn't her fault and it was only because I was so full. She didn't believe me. Haven't had sex since, and it has been 2 weeks. I was drunk one time and a male friend of mine, I'm a straight guy, convinced me that I didn't know if I would like having my sucked by a dude until I tried it. So I did. My remained flaccid the entire time. Then he convinced me to let him try licking my so I also did. I'm not even mad because his logic is irrefutable. There's still time to call this dude back and say no homo. Got the tip of my junk caught in the brace bar behind her teeth. She was struggling to pull away, which hurt, so I was trying to stop her. We ended up calling her dad for help. He brought me a cup of ice and a warning to never come back. I did not. Have a small scar to this day, lol. She made squeaking noises as she gave me a hand job before sex. We did not have sex. Checking the boxes for guys with a Minnie Mouse kink. I met her at a mental hospital, so you could argue she was also f***ing goofy. Came after making out for a few minutes. All clothes on. First time having sex, dude asks, "Can I try something?" Proceeds to shove 2 fingers in my No prep. No forewarning. I nope the out to there. First and last time with someone, she just started sticking her fingers in my Just said, "You're going to feel me all week." She was also a biter. I think I could be into biting, but not the way she was doing it. She was just trying to make your whole week.